Starting your baby on solids is super exciting, but it is extremely overwhelming. You've got the baby-led weaning approach, you've got the approach where you just give them pureed food only initially, and then you've got an approach where it kind of combines the two. Now, what I have noticed over the years is no matter which approach a parent is using with their little one, they seem to make the same 6 mistakes, which make mealtime so much harder than they need to be. So in this video, I'm going to cover what these mistakes are and more importantly, what you can do to avoid making them. And the last mistake that I cover is the one that definitely has the biggest impact on mealtimes, so you definitely want to stick around to hear that. But before we get into it, make sure you click on that free PDF document in the description box below, which covers the developmental milestones you can be expecting for your little one in their first year of life. This will give you an invaluable peace of mind, as you'll know when to be expecting skills and when to be concerned. The first mistake parents make is giving up on food way too quickly. So parents often incorrectly assume that when a baby makes a face or pushes the food out with their tongue or gags on the food that they don't like the food. Now your baby is going to do this when they first start to eat solids or when they try new food for a number of reasons. Firstly, they have a tongue thrust reflex at 6 months of age, and this is activated whenever their lips or their tongue is touched. And what happens is their tongue automatically pushes whatever it is out of their mouth. The second reason is babies have a really strong gag reflex. Compared to us as adults, where our gag reflex is towards the back of our mouth, with babies it's towards the front and middle of their tongue. So when anything touches that, they are going to automatically gag. Over time, their gag reflex will start to move back and they won't gag initially when they try food. And lastly, babies will make funny faces when they have food for the first time or try a new piece of food, and that is because it tastes weird in their mouth. The texture might be funny and they are just exploring with the food. The second mistake parents often make is they try to limit the mess. Now, parents might do this by continuing to spoon feed their baby for a long period of time, wiping the baby's mouth after every mouthful, reducing the food to food that isn't messy, or not letting the baby play with the food. Now this is a mistake because meal times are meant to be messy. The first steps to actually eating solids is learning to touch it with your hand and smell the food and interact with it. You won't really put any food in your mouth unless you have done those things. So your baby needs to have that opportunity too. So they need to be playing with the food and then accidentally putting it in their mouth. If you want to kind of limit that mess, is use a baby paint smock during meal times and only wipe their mouth after the meal has finished. The third mistake parents often make is they start solids too early because they think it is going to help their little one sleep through the night or sleep better at nighttime. Now this really isn't true. What parents will often notice is that their 4-month-old baby or 5-month-old baby starts to wake more regularly during the nighttime, and they assume that this is because they are hungry. What in fact they are noticing is their baby's sleep patterns have matured to reflect that of an adult, and what's happening is your little one is waking up in the nighttime to try and find that sleep association to help them fall back to sleep. If that is the case, what you're wanting to do is work on their overall sleep hygiene, not increase solid, because that isn't going to change their sleep at all. In fact, the World Health Organization recommends waiting until your baby is 6 months of age before starting solids. The fourth mistake I often see parents making is they feed the baby separately to the family. So they feed the baby first and then the whole family eat together afterwards. Now this isn't ideal because your baby needs to see you eating food and watch how you actually swallow the food and interact with the food, because that tells them that it shouldn't be something to be scared of, and they also learn what you're doing with your mouth and they watch you really intently. So what you want to do is just ensure that your baby is also eating their solids while the family is eating it. The fifth mistake I see parents making is they continue to feed their baby when their little one has clearly indicated that they have had enough and they are satisfied. Now, I know as parents, we often very aware if our little one hasn't eaten enough off their plate, and we try to kind of sneak in a few more mouthfuls of food whenever the baby's laughing or when their mouth is partially open. They just slip that spoon in and then the baby's forced to eat more food. Now, what you want to understand is when your baby is indicating to you that they are satisfied, so they might be shaking their head, they might be arching away, they might be uninterested in the food, or they might be keeping their mouth closed, you need to respect that and stop giving them food. If you persist and make your baby eat more food, you are going to make them anxious around food. And when a baby is anxious, they are no longer hungry because it suppresses their appetite. They will also become fearful of food, and it can have an impact on your baby's ability to regulate their own kind of hunger, and that might cause weight problems in the future. It's important to remember that as a parent, it's your role to give your baby food that is safe for them to eat, but it is your baby's role to decide how much of that food they want to eat. And the sixth mistake I always see parents making, and it has such a huge impact on how willing a baby is to stay in a high chair and explore and eat food, is they put their baby in a high chair which is not giving them any postural support. Unfortunately, all high chairs are simply too big. You will notice that when you put your baby in a high chair, they automatically fall to the side, which means it's going to be harder for them to actually swallow food. Their hands are up near their shoulders, so it's going to be harder to interact and play with that food. And their feet are never supported. So it's like they're sitting on a bar stool all the time, and their tummy muscles are going to become really, really tired, and they're going to fatigue when they're sitting in that chair. So it is really important that you provide your baby with a supportive high chair. Now, this means you are going to make adjustments to that high chair. And if you want more information on how to make those adjustments, then make sure you check out this video where I go through step by step how to give your baby all the support they need when they're in a high chair, no matter which high chair you have. Make sure you get that free PDF document in the description box below, and I will see you next week where I'll share more parenting tips and tricks.